This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by All-Star Vacation Homes. And you know what? When you're going on a trip to Walt Disney World, you have a great time in the parks, but why settle for a really rinky-dinky small little room that you're going to have to suffer in for a couple days or even a week or even longer? And All-Star Vacation Home is going to give you lots of space, lots of amenities, and all for a fraction of the price that you would pay for that kind of accommodations on Walt Disney World property, assuming they even existed. Check them out online at www.allstarvacationhomes.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Friday, August 6th, 2010, and this is episode 756 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hodgeberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
Well, we've come full circle, and sadly, our journey has come to an end.
Carousel of Progress.
No.
Ooh. What? Really? I thought I would have bet money on that one.
Our journey has come to an
end. Wow. Canada.
Yes. Nice comeback. Nice comeback.
You threw the curveball and my knees bent a little bit and I let it go, but I slammed that fastball right back at you. Also joining us on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Matt, I'm very, very excited today.
Why is that, Mike?
Because today Disney announced that the TTA is being renamed the People Mover. Does that mean that Horizons is around the corner?
Yeah, it's being renamed the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover.
Yes. Oh, it's so exciting.
That's what it used to be called.
I could just see the board meeting now. There's like two camps. I want to keep it the Tomorrowland Transit Authority. I want to call it the People Mover. All right, we'll do both.
Actually, Mike, before they beat you up, it was called the Wedway People Mover.
It was called the Wedway.
The Wedway.
Right. So now it's the people. I've always called it the People Mover, even the last 15 years.
Because it moves people.
Waka waka.
Also joining us on today's show is the fabulous Annette Owens, a manager of customer relations and group services for MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Annette, how was your cruise?
Oh, the cruise was excellent. It's so much fun to be back with you guys again.
It was so great that you guys spent so much time with Becky on the cruise.
I know. I got a little bit of time with Newell. Just a little.
We had a blast.
Well, on today's show, we're going to be talking about something a little different than usual. We're going to be talking about, you go to an attraction in Walt Disney World, let's say Splash Mountain, Tower of Terror. It doesn't matter what ride it is, really. But you're going on an attraction in Walt Disney World. And, it's going to be an attraction that you're looking forward to. But you know what? Everyone's got these moments on these attractions that are their favorite moments. It's these things that are they're quintessentially for them. It defines the attraction for them. It's the thing that really just stands out. It's that moment on the ride or in the show that you go, yeah, this is, it kind of like sinks in almost that you're seeing that attraction. So today, we're going to talk about those kinds of moments in our attractions and talk about those kind of moments that do it really for us. And Scopa, let's kick things off with you because I know you had one you mentioned before we got started that you had one that came to mind instantly. So I'm curious which one you were thinking of.
The first one that came to mind was American Adventure, which happens to be my favorite attraction. And what I look forward to is the Golden Dream movie. And there are two specific. Actually, now there's three or four scenes which I look forward to seeing every time. And as much as I do love the entire attraction, it's the movie that I look forward to because there are certain things like Krista McAuliffe, who's from New Hampshire, who is going into she's going up in space and she never returns, and that's a little bit of an emotional thing. Seeing John F. Kennedy Jr. Salute his father's casket, that's kind of special because I remember being in Walt Disney World when his plane crashed, and I remember going to that attraction and being really caught up in the emotion with that. And there's also, and I forget the name of the guy, but there's this guy who pushes his son in the wheelchair every Boston Marathon. He runs the marathon with his son, and so I see those three things, and those it makes me think about what the American Adventure is all about, and the word adventure. I mean, life is an adventure. You never know what's going to happen around that corner, and you need to grab it. And I think that's what that movie's all about. So I think it really says a lot about Walt Disney World in general. So that's the first thing that came to mind when we talked about doing this topic.
Yeah, it's a great choice, Mike. Newell, what about you? What's one that comes to mind for you?
I don't think I have anything as deep as what Mike said.
It's fine. I was going to say.
I was thinking.
I was just thinking like when you go backwards on Expedition Everest. So really, feel lowbrow with.
As
good.
As he's going on, I'm thinking, wow, I really don't have much. I don't. Every time I go, the first place I go to is Epcot, and I always write Spaceship Earth first. And the moment that I always feel that I'm home is when I smell Rome burning.
I know what you mean, Mike. I know what you mean.
Annette thinks it's funny, but no, to me, that's always, a defining moment that I'm actually at Disney. It's the first ride that I go on when I get there.
Right.
Usually when the day I fly in, so it's like I haven't done anything else but my first, my very first trip in was on Spaceship Earth to Epcot. So it's always kind of I always try to do the very first thing I did in Epcot is the very first thing I usually do on every trip, for the last 18 years now.
Yeah, no, I like that, Mike. I was thinking one thing I was in the Tower of Terror. It's funny, it's not actually on the ride, but when I first walk into the lobby of the Tower of Terror in the queue line, that does it for me. That's my favorite moment. To me, it's every time I go in there. I'm in the studios every week. I don't ride Tower of Terror every week, but I'm on there quite a bit. And I go there, and every time I go there, I always think the same thing. Man, I wish I had more time to look around in here because I think it's just that cool. Yeah. And being in there, obviously with any good attraction, it's that ability. It gives you that ability to kind of suspend disbelief. You know what I mean? And that moment when you walk in the lobby over there, that really sets the stage so well, in my opinion. So that's really a great moment, one of my favorite moments on any attraction.
Tower of Terror is one of those attractions that you wish you had more time to spend in the queue. It's just one of those attractions where you're like, oh, I went in there too fast, and I really wish I could spend some more time in the queue. It's that good.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like almost...
It really, right...
Go ahead,
I'm sorry, Matt, but exactly what you're talking about, that walk in first, when you first get in there, you get just a brief glimpse and then you're gone.
Right, exactly. It kind of
just don't get enough time.
It kind of reminds me of, in a weird way, Expedition Everest with the Yeti when he actually did work. I remember all those times, when he was actually working and going through there, and when you go, it's not ruining too much, but anyway, you're going through the ride and you only see the Yeti briefly, the animatronic Yeti, not like the other references to him. And I always think, man, they spent all this money on this. We only see him for a half a second, and it's just like a Tower of Terror. The Imagineers spent so much time and energy on making that lobby look creepily, empty. And you spend so little time there because the queue barely curves in there, and then you're already in the library. So it's to me it's along the same lines. And what's a moment for you that on an attraction that's a favorite of yours?
Well, I have several. I was thinking Tower of Terror, the same thing. Entering in there and just really, there's been times when I've been in line and I've let people go ahead of me. Just go. I just want to stand here and look around. Try to see what I can find.
Right.
I think there's, you got to have that moment as you're getting ready to take off there on Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yes.
That's one of those where you just like seeing everybody come at you, stare at you for that split second when you leave them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as we were talking about before the show, it's funny you started with that because Filler Magic is one of those. In
Really?
Magic Kingdom, I want to go in there, and I enjoy that show. Call me silly, call me, young
silly.
at heart. I don't know. But I enjoy that. And I do, I love to be our guest and the food flying at you and all that other stuff. I enjoy that a lot better than maybe another 3D attraction that has rats coming at you. Just saying.
I love PhilharMagic, and I think it's so great. It's actually, I have the opposite reaction in PhilharMagic. We're talking about our favorite moment. I think my least favorite moment, they did such a great job with it, except for the Aladdin scene. Have you noticed that in that?
True. Very true.
The animation just looks like they ran out of money and was like, okay, we got to outsource this one to the Ukraine. I don't think we have any Ukrainian listeners.
Yeah, that one's lacking.
And that one is just
that one is definitely lacking. But
the rest are so wonderfully done. So it's interesting you brought that one up. How about this one, Scobo? Tell me if this one does anything for you. In Peter Pan, the London scene is really cool in my opinion.
Matt, you must have been. If I was waiting for you to call on me again, because I was going to say that my next one would have been, which I believe is the only attraction, and I'm sure that I'll hear otherwise if I'm wrong. I think it's the only attraction in Walt Disney World, at least in the Magic Kingdom, that has never, ever, ever been touched since day one. I think that when you hear Peter Pan say, "Here we go," and you're going over the City of London at night, that's a special that's a special memory for me because I remember the first time I went to Walt Disney World, how I loved that attraction and especially the music. So that to me in the Magic Kingdom, that might be the thing for me in the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, the Peter Pan attraction I really like. Everything up till really they get to Neverland. You know, the part where they go through the bedroom and then you see Nana barking at you, and then you're over London, and that whole sequence there. I mean, it really does, like you just said, Mike, and that is definitely something that definitely resonates with me. Newell?
This is going to be different than what we're talking about, but it still has the same effect. And I just mentioned this on the show once before. When I walk into Space Mountain and when I walk into the Carousel of Progress, there's some sort of smell to the place. I think it's some machine oil or something for the ride.
It's puke, probably.
No,
yeah, go ahead.
It's not that bad. It's got a mechanical smell to it, and I don't know. There's something about it that every time I go, because I remember that Carousel of Progress smell from being a kid when I first went in 1980. So I can. It's sort of there's something about smell that that triggers that memory.
You're into smells tonight, Mike, huh? You got the Rome burning or whatever.
I didn't even think of that. Wow.
Yeah.
You're right. But there's something about it that just triggers. Maybe that you're right, Mike. Maybe that first when I first went to Epcot in 92, and that was my honeymoon trip. That was a great trip, and maybe that triggered the memory of that. And, you might be onto something.
The smells of Disney.
Yeah.
By Mike Newell.
That's a whole different show. You need smell-o-vision.
What do you guys think about? I know it's currently on hiatus, or I don't know what's going on with it. But Spectrum Magic, when the characters switch from color to white, or white to color, whatever the sequence is, that is a cool thing for me. That is my absolute favorite part of the whole parade. Is when they do that. They do it a couple times afterwards, but the first time they do that, and you just see the whole cascade of lights change over, that does it for me. I love that, seeing that. And that makes, any wait worth it for me right there. That's like those are the kind, especially that moment right there. That's that moment, where, if someone took a picture of me, my mouth would be kind of open and this kind of whimsical, almost childlike look on my face. Because that's what kind of, I just think it's so cool how they do that. And for me, that in that moment in that parade, that's really a favorite.
It's sort of a tie. It's sort of a tie for me. For that and if Chernobog is right in front of me and he opens up.
Yes.
That's sort of what I like to see in Spectro.
Absolutely. Annette, back to you.
Well, this isn't, I guess, an attraction, but this is going to go right along the smell-o-vision route. But just coming into Main Street, and just that for me is the memories of coming with the family, and because that's always when you come with a big group, you stand there for a few minutes and everybody argues where they want to go, and especially back in the day. When I was going with my parents, we'd all go, but I want to go here, or I want to go there. And there's a lot of memories that come in as you go right into the Magic Kingdom and down Main Street. And you smell the bakery, and then you get to the popcorn. And
that is true.
That in itself, to me, is an attraction. You got to walk. You're walking through it.
And that's right. When you first walk into the Magic Kingdom, especially if you're walking on the left side, there's the popcorn stand. And the first thing you smell is the popcorn when you actually opening up into your first glimpse of Main Street.
Yeah.
She's
I know
right.
what you're talking about.
She's absolutely right.
I don't know what Disney does to their popcorn.
The ice cream at the end, you can smell the waffle cones going,
The sauerkraut by Casey's.
I never walk on that
I guess
side.
I'm alone on that one. All right, fine.
No,
the bakery's on the other side of the road.
But I mean, you're right about that. There's something about it. Those things, because you know what it is? They're always in the same spots. So it's not like the popcorn's on the left side one time, and then the next day it's on the right side, and sometimes it's not there at all. It's always there. And that kind of when you have that repetitive nature to it, even though it's not an attraction by any means, it's just it's a stand that's been there for 30, 40 years now. It makes that, smelling that and seeing it and hearing the bells of the vehicles on Main Street, those things, they all, for every little person, it changes for them what those are quintessential moments are. So I think you guys are on to that. Absolutely. Scopa?
I was just thinking of some other things, Matt, and one is when I'm watching Illuminations, the "We Go On" song by Kelly Coffey. That's special for me.
Yeah, how about Illuminations when he blows out the torches in the very beginning?
Yeah, that works too. We Go On is very special for me and a bunch of my friends. I know for sure.
We've been heavy on the Magic Kingdom. We've talked a little bit about Epcot here.
There's no memories of the studios.
Animal Kingdom is leaving.
He's going to make us go to Animal Kingdom is what he's going to
No!
No! There's... Man. What are some other ones? I mean, I've been calling you, but just yell them out. I mean, what are you guys thinking for?
Well, in the studios, it's I think that seeing the pre-show to the Great Movie Ride, seeing the clips, that's kind of something that I look forward to. I think seeing the net full of Jell-O at the Muppets pre-show. I think the Muppets pre-show in general is a big deal for me.
I like in Star Tours when you go to hyperspace the first time. The light speed and the whole and the vehicle rocks backward a little bit, and it's you're not actually going anywhere, obviously, but you really feel like the sensation like you're about to lurch forward right into light speed. You know what I mean? And it's very exhilarating considering all it's doing really is just lurching back and then lurching forward. The simulator, but for that I love that part. I could just I wish we would just go in light speed, out of light speed, in the light speed, out of light speed.
His one, jumping back a little bit to the Magic Kingdom in the Haunted Mansion, and this is before you even get into the doors, going through the turnstiles, and then, I don't know why, but every time I have to go over to the left and watch for Madame Leota's tombstone and her eyes to go up, to open up.
Yes.
That's another thing. And the stretching room, although that's changed a little bit over the years.
What about let's talk about this. What's your favorite animatronic or scene? I'll give you that much on Splash Mountain. Because there's a lot of different scenes.
There's so many.
I know, and for me, I like the one. I don't know. Again, all of these are very subjective, but in the part where you're coming along the bend a little bit, and you see the silhouette of Brer Rabbit running over a hill, and he's being chased by Brer Bear and Brer Fox. And it's just their shadows kind of like running. It's like a cartoony kind of thing going on. And that I really enjoy quite a bit. I think that one's just very cool.
That is cool.
I like it after the big drop and you're going through and they're singing Zippity Doo Dah. And then there's a whole, it's very, very festive. And I can recall looking around and seeing people in boats and especially those people who weren't too sure about the actual attraction, and now they've done the big drop and they've survived, and now they're really happy. And I've noticed that. So you've got the singing and zippity doo dah. I made it through, the attraction or whatever. So I think that's kind of special. I think.
Annette, what's your favorite scene on Splash?
See, I think when you first get inside, especially when you go with people that have never been and they don't know exactly what to expect, and they get in there and they've got the fish jumping and you've got the character singing and the little bobbin, fishers, whatever you call those little things. You know what I'm talking about. So, but it's the excitement and the drama, because it's not exactly, especially when here recently I've been going with people that have never been. So when you go on that ride and they don't know what to expect, it's the anticipation that you get from the other people on the boat with you. It's great.
Yeah, it makes sense. Absolutely. How about well, Newell, you mentioned your favorite part of Spaceship Earth. Scopa, what's your favorite part of Spaceship Earth?
Well, it's not the second half, that's for sure.
You can take a good nap on that one.
I think that there are two things that I take into consideration. The Michelangelo scene, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Brings back memories for you, Mike?
Yeah,
Sorry, I had to.
So the Michelangelo scene, and I also think that when we get to the top, and this Spaceship Earth, it sort of says, we're on a journey and we're on a space, So that's kind of a big moment. Yeah.
The moment I was trying to think of it, and I was going to say like Rome or something. No, you're right. The moment on top when you get over there and your vehicle emerges from the barriers, and you see that are you supposed to be on the moon? Is that what it is, or you're just out in space?
No, you're looking at the Earth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were floating in space.
I always thought I was on the moon. I don't know why. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
But
you're somewhere in space.
I would definitely have agreed with that before they changed the score. The new score that they have at that scene, it's not as dramatic as it was.
It changed?
Right.
I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
listen to it. It's not as dramatic. It used to be, wow, when you first saw that, the music was blaring at you, and it was this dramatic music. Now it's this mediocre, it doesn't do it as much for me as it used to.
Yeah, I think they need to do something with the sound system, make it better.
Annette, what's your favorite moment on Spaceship Earth?
Well, I was going to say at the top. You climb through all the history and you go. In my mind, you bust through the garage out into
Yeah.
looking down at Earth. And I actually enjoy going back down. And
You have to lean back. That's the only good thing about it.
it's a nice little rest.
Let's very quickly. We're a little over time, but it's okay. Len's paying for it.
Is he?
How about Soren? What's your Newell, what's your favorite moment on Soren?
My favorite moment, when you first climb up, is my favorite moment. Even before the picture starts.
So in the clouds you're talking about, or before that?
Even before that, it's the anticipation. That you go up. There's that music. It's and it's like, all right, here we go. This is the whole. Even before the very first cloud scene, before the actual projection turns on, that is my favorite.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Mike. I think as soon as my feet leave the ground, I think that to me is one of those moments. I'm home. I'm back. I think that if the film and the music was a little bit more upbeat, and it's very good. There's no question about it. But if it was a little bit more exciting with the music, I think I would have said something other than that. But I think that when I feel my feet leave the ground, I think that's that moment.
Annette, what about you?
I agree with you on all that, but I think for me, it's when you get that first little whiff of all places with the water, where you get the smell of the evergreens and that kind of stuff. And then the smell-o-vision part. Here we go again. Now I'm on the smell stuff, but it's kind of like you've kind of immersed yourself into the video.
Right. For me, I agree with everything you all said, but for me, I really like the ending, the Disneyland part. I think it's the perfect way to cap it off, because everything is like, this scene is better than this scene. Wow, I can't believe it. And it's kind of, when you do that kind of thing, it's kind of hard to end it right. And I really think they really ended the attraction perfectly on that moment when you get to Disneyland and you're going over it and you get the fireworks in your face. And for me, I think it's such a great way to cap it all off. Good.
If it was real fireworks, maybe.
Well, that's going to do it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW website at wdwtoday.com. Don't forget, our sponsor for this episode is All-Star Vacation Homes. And your favorite moment at your All-Star Vacation Home, it's going to be hard to pick, because, you're going to walk in there and you're going to be amazed by the house that you're going to get. You're going to be amazed by the amenities you have in your house. Maybe you're going to get the private pool. Maybe you're going to get the game room, maybe the full kitchen, a bathroom for everybody. I mean, these are all these typical moments you're going to have, and they're going to keep happening every single time that you step into your house. So it's going to be to the point where you're going to pull a Mike Newell. We're going to be like, why are we going to the parks? Let's just stay in our All-Star Vacation Home.
That's right.
Right. It's been known to happen. Check them out online at www.allstarvacationhomes.com. For Len Testa, Mike Silva, Mike Newell, and the fabulous Annette Owens, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.